Hi, everyone. My name is Tom Perry, and on behalf of the Great Wine Capitals Global Network, I'd like to welcome you to this webinar about the best sustainable practices in Ibero-American wine tourism. Sustainability and sustainable development are two of the most important objectives for the world today. They are prominent among the goals of Agenda 2030, the United Nations initiative to change the world for the better. In the wine business, sustainable initiatives include using clean energy sources, including solar, wind, geothermic, and even gravity, efficient water management, reducing our carbon footprint with lighter bottles, other recyclable containers, water-soluble inks, and many more. For the Great Wine Capitals, sustainability initiatives are top of mind. The network is a founding member of both the Porto Protocol and the Sustainable Wine Roundtable, where our members contribute their expertise to further the success of these two organizations. Since the Great Wine Capitals created the Best of Wine Tourism Awards in 2002, our Sustainable Wine Tourism Initiatives Awards have honored over 100 companies. 4 of our 2023 award winners will share their experiences with you today. Please note that there will be a Q&A session after we hear from our panel members. Please write your questions in the chat. If a question is for a specific speaker, please say so. Now I'd like to introduce our panelists. First of all, Victoria Gonzalez-Gordon, representing Bodegas Beronia in Rioja. Mariana Castro from Six Senses Douro Valley. Alejandra Gil Postleman from Rosell Boher Lodge from Mendoza in Argentina, and Carlos Ocampo representing Matetic winery in the Casablanca Valley in Chile. Our first speaker is Victoria Gonzalez-Gordon. Victoria is the 5th generation of one of Spain's premier winery groups, González Baez in Jerez. After 15 years as the international marketing director, she was recently appointed the group's chief sustainability officer. Victoria brings a unique set of credentials and perspective to this webinar. So Victoria, the floor is yours if you'd like to begin.
Thank you, Tom, and hello to everyone. Thanks for having me here and for giving me the opportunity to talk about Beronia. I'll try and share a video to start with. Let's hope I do it right. Here. You can see it right?
Perfect.
Okay, so I hope everyone enjoyed that video, and I'm going to, let's see if I can do this now. And then you can see my whole screen? No, you can't. Now. So I'm going to structure my comments on Beronia in 3 parts. So I'll start with the history of the winery, because this is going to help me explain our proposal for wine tourism later. Then we are going to see the new winery and why it's sustainable, and then we're going to see what we do in wine tourism. So, well, Beronia was founded in 1973. It was founded by a group of friends from the Basque country who enjoyed cooking and dining together in what is known as a gastronomic society, or a choco. So this group of friends who got together frequently, so the idea was for them to go to the market, buy their local food, local ingredients, get together, cook them, and then enjoy them together. Well, they decided they wanted to have their own wine for their meetings, and then they founded Bodegas Beronia. The name Beronia, they chose it as a tribute to the Berones, who was the people that inhabited the land that we now know as Rioja in the 3rd century before Christ. Well, that was 1973. In 1982, Beronia was bought by González Díaz, by a family of wineries with origin in Jerez, and its national and international expansion began. Well, respect for the land, a tribute to its origin, and sustainability are part of our philosophy as a group of winery, and also in Beronia. Beronia, we are certified with the Wineries for Climate Protection and have a strong sustainability program that we share throughout our wineries that is called 5+5, Caring for the Planet. Well, nearly 50 years later, we have built a new winery for our top wines. And this sentence, born amongst friends to be enjoyed by friends, that we also saw in the video, is our brand purpose, because friendship, enjoyment, respect for the land, and sustainability are our pillars. So, well, here you can see the winery. We have seen it also in the video. We started with the building in 2018, and sustainability was included in the beginning, in the brief. It was, we say that it has been a holistic design, because for the design we brought together a diverse group of professionals, from highway engineers, industrial engineers, architects, garden specialists, so that the design was tackled from every possible angle. And today the winery is a point of reference in terms of architecture and also sustainability. So, well, the building, some of the highlights. The building has an environmental design. Well, you see, it's been built in a land with rolling hills, with a height difference between 8 and 6 meters, perhaps in the previous. Here you can see better the difference in levels in the plot, meaning that, well, it's completely integrated there and helps preserve the beauty of the landscape. Most of it, because of the differences of height, is under the ground. It's built into the hillside, reducing the visual impact, and also using gravity for all the production process, and also for helping with the climate differences in different heights. Well, the shape was also adapted to where it was built, with this half moon shape, and also with the orientation, because it's southeast facing, so it can get the most of the natural sunlight, so that we need less artificial light. In terms of energy efficiency, well, as I have mentioned, the natural lighting, and we also have 4 different sources of renewable energy. We have the solar thermal panels, which you can see in the roof of the winery for heating water. We have photovoltaic plants as well, and we have geothermia and aerothermia, so making use of the heat of the land, or the constant temperature of the land with the geothermia, and the aerothermia making use of the air outside the winery. So these 2 energies, excuse me, are used to heating or cooling the winery. So we need less energy. Well, here, this is the entrance, and you can see, for example, the ceiling, the top of the building, it's a garden. It's completely planted with herbs and other local plants, which need very little care. And here, well, this photo is also on the roof. You can see it's completely integrated. So if you see it from high, it's all green. You can also see there's the water collection system here in the sides. This is the two sides of the winery. So water is collected and channeled to a storage tank, and it's used in different processes. Well, here you can see the winery from the other side. You can see all the glass. So it's very open, beautiful views to the vineyard. And also, for example, we have tried to reduce the noise pollution. So the bottling line, which is the part of the winery which is more noisy, let's say, it's a bit in a different part of the building, and is surrounded by prefabricated concrete walls. So the noise is very controlled. So because of this, I think it was May when we got the LEED certification. So this is the LEED Gold for sustainable leading in energy and sustainable design by the US Green Building Council. So we are very happy about this recognition. And then to finish my presentation, this doesn't work there. I wanted to talk a little bit about what we do in terms of wine tourism. So when we were defining our offer, we wanted to remain true to our values, which, as I mentioned before, it's friendship, it's enjoyment, it's respect for the land, and it's also care for the environment. We wanted to do something unique, something more personal, more emotional. And well, as our winery is completely surrounded by vineyards, well, one of the alternatives is to enjoy a glass of wine, either in our wine bar, which is inside with this glass where you can see the views, or here in the terrace as this group. Well, this group came, I think it was winter time, maybe November or so a couple of, yeah, not very sure. So the day is a bit gray, but it's still beautiful views. Well, we also offer guided visits to learn about the winemaking process. Well, for example, these stairs that go down to the barrel aging area, which you can see, or the beautiful bottle cellar, which you can also see. We offer tastings for different types of wood, aging in different woods. This is one of our selling points. Of course, as much as we can do out in the vineyard, we are surrounded by them, so people can walk around the vineyard, can walk in our aromatic garden, which receives you in the entrance of the winery, even do a bike tour or even a picnic in the vineyard. And finally, going back to our origins, which, as I mentioned, was a group of friends getting together for cooking and enjoying food and wine. In a choco or a gastronomic society, we have replied this same concept, this choco, inside the winery. So we have our own Beronia choco, which is an open kitchen where we offer cooking experiences with a local chef using local product, with the idea that friends can come, can cook their own meal with their own sourced ingredients coming from the local region, guided by our own chef, and then enjoy their meal together. So going back to our purpose of enjoyment and friendship. And well, this is a group in action, cooking their meal, everyone wearing their Beronia aprons. This is the open kitchen, and close next to it we have the dining room. And just to finish, we have installed posts for charging electric cars, which can be used for free by our visitors. This is the parking. You can see the sign there. And a couple of months ago, I saw this bird nest making the home in one of these electric charging points. So I really like this image to finish my part.
Well, great. Victoria, thank you very much. Very interesting presentation. Just to remind you, if you have any questions, let's wait till everyone has made their presentations, and then we'll try to answer them as well as we can. Now, our second panelist is Mariana Castro from Six Senses, Douro Valley in northern Portugal. Mariana is from Lisbon. She studied hotel management at La Roche University in Marbella in southern Spain. Since March 2022, Mariana has been part of the sustainability team at the Six Senses Douro Valley Hotel, where sustainability together with well-being are the two main pillars of the brand. So, Mariana, welcome. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. And to start showcase all the sustainability efforts that are done daily in Six Senses, I would also like to show a brief video. So let's see if everything works properly. Are you seeing it?
Now we are at the top of our property where we keep our bees. Bees are very important for the ecosystem, and we want to help this population to grow. So we have bug hotels, luxury accommodations for them. Come this way. Let me see if there's some with pollen. So you look this one, the yellow balls, it's pollen. So we'll think we'll have good honey this year. We collect beeswax and it ends up here in the Earth Lab, where our guests can enjoy one of our workshops. The Earth Lab is a very special place for us. It's the heart of sustainability here in Douro Valley, and it's a place where we try to teach our guests simple things that can help us to have a more sustainable lifestyle.
So welcome to the Earth Lab. So in today's workshop, we'll be doing some bee wax wraps with just cotton fabric and bee wax. It's all done with natural products. So bee wax wraps are wonderful to reduce the consumption of cling films in our kitchens, and this way reduce the consumption of plastic in our own houses.
Now we are in our wine library. Here we have some interesting features of how we integrate sustainability in our decorations. Up here we have this chandelier that is made of reused wine bottles, and on my left you see this wood wall that was made with recycled wood from other parts of the building. And right here we have an art installation that is made with old farming tools from the local area.
So we have a take-back program where we work with our suppliers to recycle the boxes, so they're always in use and we don't have extra plastic to our operation. So George is our mushroom supplier. He brings boxes, we change to our boxes, and then he takes his ones back. If we can do this with all suppliers, we can reduce the amount of plastic being used. I think that's fantastic.
Now we are in the forest, in our property, which is part of the historical gardens of Portugal. In the last 70 years, we have regenerating the space. Now we see a lot of diversity. We see all these spontaneous species appearing again.
Here at Douro Valley, we have these beautiful donkeys that we protect. They are our mascot, and this is done through the Sustainability Fund. So what you see here is part of what we do every day to protect endangered species, and this goes across every Six Senses. And the beauty of the Sustainability Fund is that we not only protect endangered species, but we contribute to help and to develop the community where we are integrated in.
So I hope you have enjoyed this little video. And now I'll be happy to show also a small PowerPoint presentation. Can you see it properly? You're working well, the presentation?
The homepage is fine. There we go.
Oh, wonderful. So to give a brief presentation of Six Senses, it's an Asian brand, and it's a resort and spa brand. So we do not produce our own wine. It's an Asian brand, and that's why most of the resorts are located there. Although the brand is expanding a lot, but Douro Valley was the first one in Europe, and it's located in a UNESCO World Heritage.
and it's a place that's very known for the production of wine, especially port wine. We currently have 71 rooms and are more than 200 members of staff. And since the beginning of the brand, the two main pillars have always been sustainability together with wellness. And that's how we're able to achieve the Six Senses vision, which is the connection with ourselves, others, and the world around us. So sustainability is truly important for us. It's in the heart and soul of the company and everything that we believe in. So we have guidelines for every single department from home office, which are adapted to every property to help us make the best possible choices, reducing the negative impact of our operation. Every single hotel even has a sustainability team. And regarding plastic, Six Senses has this major goal of eliminating all single-use plastic inside all our properties by the end of this year, which, as you may imagine, it's nothing easy to achieve, but it's part of the work that's done daily. And what I'm so proud of this brand is that it's truly not just what the guest sees, it's everything that comes inside of the property. So as you've seen in the videos, we have agreements with all our suppliers to provide their products in paper containers. And regarding plastic replacements, in some cases, it makes more sense to replace the plastic being used by natural compostable materials, and in other cases, to change it to high quality reusable ones. So to give some examples, we have replaced the cling film in our kitchens by silicone lids, and all the vacuum bags used, for example, to store jam by glass jars. We also buy in bulk paper bags as much as possible, and even our coffee capsules are compostable. And we all know that waste management is a key element to reduce the environmental impact of the operations. So Six Senses aims to operate close to zero waste, meaning zero or none or very little waste sent to the landfills. At this moment, in Douro Valley, there's 14 different categories for waste segregation, apart the most known, such as plastic, paper, glass, and organic. We also separate toners, used soap, cork, batteries, lamps, cigarette butts, used cooking oil, electronic waste, construction waste, and finally, general waste, of course. All the waste is treated by licensed companies, and it's an enormous amount of waste that we avoid going to the landfills every year. And regarding energy and water conservation, Six Senses requires monthly reporting from all properties on key performance indicators, such as energy, carbon, water, waste, and every year energy saving goals are established. We're very proud to share that since 2018, Six Senses Douro Valley has reduced 23% of the total energy consumed, and more than 50% of the energy we purchase comes from renewable sources. We also have a beautiful organic garden where we grow a lot of aromatic herbs and vegetables. There, we don't use any pesticides or herbicides. And because we're a very big property, we're not able to be self-sufficient. So for that reason, it's truly important for us to source our food as locally as possible. First of all, to support small and local farmers, but also to prevent the transportation pollution associated with it. So everything that we grow in the garden, it's then going to be used by our kitchen. Because since we focus so much in reducing organic waste, it would make no sense to grow food that then wouldn't be waste, that then wouldn't be used. So we have a very good relationship with our kitchen team, and together we decide what we're going to grow for the season, because the menus also changes accordingly. And all our organic waste from the kitchen, it's used to compost, which we do in property, and it's then used as a natural fertilizer for our soils. Now here, the Earth Lab is a very important place for everyone in Six Senses, and every property has one, and it's adapted. And it's a place that we like to showcase all the efforts that are done daily and to educate our guests regarding sustainability. It's in a certain way the place that we try to find ways to reduce our impact on the planet and pass that fundamental message to all our guests. So we have different workshops that I always have the intention of teaching, because we believe that education is the key. So for example, apart from the workshop that you've seen in the video, we also show how pickles are done, because pickles, apart from being delicious, or at least a lot of people like them, they are a wonderful way to prolong food life and that way reducing organic waste. But in the same workshop, we also teach how yogurts are made, because yogurts are a very simple and delicious way to reduce our consumption of plastic in our own houses. We even make our own candles using vegetable oil that has been used to fry food in our kitchen, and to create awareness for how pollutant these residues are, because once we don't separate them properly, what happens most of the times is that ends up in our oceans. We also organize every month what we call a fun clean, which is an activity that the staff members that sign up for it collect trash in the surrounding of the property, making our planet cleaner and our views even prettier, while enjoying a walk within a friendly environment with our colleagues. Now, all Six Senses resorts also bottle their own water on site. So water is treated to the highest international standards and bottled in Six Senses glass water bottles. Not only does this action reduce the environment impact by minimizing the waste created through packaging and transportation, but also 50% of the water sales go directly to the Sustainability Fund. So what is it, the Sustainability Fund? Apart from representing part of the hotel revenue, it also represents the sales from the water bottles. And with that fund, we're able to support some wonderful charities around the area. Because for us, it's also truly important to develop the community we surround ourselves in. So part of these projects are regarding social causes, one of them helping teenagers and children in hard financial situations and motivating them to study and creating the opportunities for that to happen. And that way to break the cycle and provide better conditions for their families. Other charities that we work with are regarding animals, because unfortunately in Douro Valley there is many stray animals. So these associations provide medical care and food to these animals. So this was definitely just a brief touch on all the efforts that are done daily in Six Senses Douro Valley. I hope you have enjoyed it and take some inspiration out of it as well. Thank you very much.
Well, you're welcome, Mariana. Amazing, absolutely. Our next speaker is Alejandra Gil Posleman, who represents the Rosell Boher Lounge in Alto Agrelo, Luján de Cuyo, near Mendoza in Argentina. Alejandra is the general manager of the lodge. In addition to her management duties, she's an English teacher and a sommelier. This luxury lodge also offers a restaurant and focuses on sustainability. So, Alejandra, take it away.
Thank you very much. We are very proud of being part of this presentation and being able to show you a little of Mendoza to everyone that is joining this webinar. So I'm going to show a little video and see if everything works well. Great. So I'm going to try to show you our presentation. Okay. As you could see, Rosell Lodge is located at the foot of the Andes, one of the biggest mountain range in the world. Rosell Lodge agrees with the concept of sustainability as a priority practice in the integral development of the tasks and activities of hospitality, gastronomy, and spa in an environment of security and tranquility surrounded by vineyards and native flora of the mountain range cultural heritage of Mendoza. Rosell Lodge is a great hotel located in the heart of the vineyard, surrounded by native vegetation and unbeatable landscapes that invite you to an unforgettable experience at the foot of the Andes Mountains. The lodge is located 45 kilometers from the city of Mendoza, the cradle of the most renowned Argentinian wineries. We have a guest house with 3 beautiful rooms and 11 private vineyards, houses with jacuzzis and private cellars, and a beautiful fireplace on the terraces. The main idea of the wine tourism development is to prioritize the landscape following a sustainable line from its architecture. The design of this venture was based on small buildings which merged with the landscape buildings. So the whole landscape is part of the buildings that we have. So the network of the vineyards, the landscape, the architecture, and the different trails are interviewed with infinitive horizons of Cordón del Plata. The design of the landscape selection of the lodge is based on the concept of shared gardens, integrated with the vineyards and the different varietals. It was sought from the very beginning a respect for the biosphere in terms of the selection and species and assemblage with the architectural sceneries. The guidelines of importance in the lodge are defined by the excellence of the service, the conservation of the cultural heritage, and the attention and information of the ecosystem provided to our guests, assuming a commitment to the protection of the culture, the environment, and our sustainability practice. We are responsible for continuous improvement of our activities and services, as well as guaranteeing everyone of the means to protect and preserve the environment in the exercise of our activities. Training the personnel involved in the concept of sustainability is a primary task undertaken by specialized and qualified professionals, making it possible to reconcile the needs and expectations of the guests through fluid communication with them, intending to offer service tailored to our guests. We assume the exercise of the real commitment to compliance with the current legislation, pertinent environmental regulations, and all other requirements to which the organization adheres. Our environmental objectives include the conservation of the water and soil resources, the preservation of pollution, the reduction and separation of the waste, the rational use of natural resources, environmental information to our guests, and the preparation for environmental emergencies. We commit ourselves to review new objectives and new goals every time to get a better and better every time. In sustainable horticulture, the essential element is the soil. By creating and maintaining a living and healthy soil, food that gives health is grown. The project RAIZ invites each one of our collaborators to participate in different activities in the garden, thus being able to enjoy delicious harvested crops in their own homes. Another of the most important concepts to highlight is water care, for which we have a state-of-the-art treatment plant that recycles the water used so that it can be discharged for irrigation. We work together with a large number of producers from various areas of the province of Mendoza. Our idea is to promote fair trade, supporting them to continue producing high quality and better products, shorten transportation distances, and offer collaborative gastronomy concepts. We look after the quality of our supplies and the origin of our ingredients. We design the experience of our kitchen space based on the concept of products and season. We aim at all times to prepare dishes with raw materials that change according to the seasons, generating a seasonal cuisine. Based on a kitchen of products and season, we carefully take care of the quality of our supplies, positioning ourselves in a sustainable gastronomy. We carry out all the process in an artisan way, pasta, baked goods, as well as our own ice cream are made. We believe that these principles allow us to transfer to our guests not only the service of excellence, but also the spirit of the entire area. We seek to translate the soul of Cava Rosell Boher and Rosell Boher Lodge into our cuisine proposals and show our guests all our combination of flavors with a philosophy of excellence with both lodging and all our services that we offer. Always with dedication and respect for nature, a distinctive characteristic of our entire career. So we look forward for your visit so you can live with us the truly experience of Rosell Boher Lodge. Thank you, Tom.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Alejandra. Very interesting presentation. And it's always amazing to see what people are doing in such a dry area as Mendoza. So our fourth panelist is Carlos Ocampo. Carlos is the commercial manager of the tourism area of Viña Matetic in Casablanca in Chile. The project started in 1999 when Jorge Matetic Attard began planting vineyards in this area of granitic soils and influence from the Pacific Ocean. The aim of the winery is to produce high-quality wines that express the terroir at its best in balance with the environment. So, Carlos, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Tom. And we're very proud of being in this webinar. And just like the rest of the panelists, I will start with a video that will show you a little bit of what we do at Matetic. Okay, so let me share my presentation now. Okay, so as you were seeing in our video, Matetic Vineyards is a family-owned vineyard, which is known for being the first biodynamic and organic winery in the San Antonio Valley and one of the first biodynamic vineyards in the whole country, in Chile. We were also the first producers of a cool climate Syrah, since we have a very high influence of the Pacific Ocean, which I will talk about in a couple more slides. And it is as I was saying, it is the first winery also to be known for this organic and biodynamic, not only production of wine, but also of tourism practices. Our philosophy talks about being in balance with nature. This obviously has to do with first with the production of our biodynamic wines, and second, understanding the whole vineyard as one organism. In this case, taking care of the fertility of the soils, also applying some biodynamic compost in all of our states, or all of our estate, and obviously taking care of our natural processes with the least intervention of man possible. Our biodynamic farming is based on 3 statements. First is the observations of the cycles of nature, this including obviously the cosmos, and a practical way of looking at this could be an example, for example, the influence of the moon over the ocean tides, and understanding plants and that specifically the flow of sap also changes with the moon and the influence of the moon and the cosmos, just like it also influences us as human beings and being a highly water-based human beings. The second statement also has to do with our biodynamic preparations, which basically can be seen as natural medicine or homeopathic herbs used through organic components, which look and search for a way to feed our soil, fertilize it, and vitalize the land in the most natural way possible. The third statement would be what I was talking about in the last slide, which has to do with looking at the farm as one unit, or we could say in different words, as one home, only one ecosystem: man, nature, and the cosmos. Biodynamic meaning life, bio meaning life, and dynamic meaning energy. Around our sustainable tourism practices, our biggest challenge has been to integrate not only the production of sustainable wines, but also sustainable tourism within a big and intense tourism infrastructure, and also tastings and tours and excursions, because of the fact that we have 3 types of accommodations inside our vineyard. First, on the top right, you can see our La Casona Hotel, which is a boutique hotel with a colonial architecture. It has 10 rooms and mainly is visited by international visitors in full board or half board programs. On the bottom right corner of the slide, you can see our tiny cabins, which we have 6 of them in the same space of the property as the domes that are in the middle of the picture. Both of these accommodations look for and receive mostly Chilean visitors, especially during the weekends, families with kids that enjoy their bicycle rides, where we also obviously have the possibility to either take your bike or rent bicycles, hot tubs, walk around the property, the vineyards. And on the left bottom corner of the slide, we have our Equilibrio restaurant. Equilibrio standing for balance. In this restaurant, we serve Chilean modern cuisine, which obviously mixed up with our organic garden, which most of our products come from there, and in which we also have our second part of compost production that is done through worms, and also trying to recycle and reutilize all of the elements we are using. Our first compost obviously has to do with not only the waste of our restaurant, but also of the whole property itself, that it also has an agricultural background. And obviously this compost is fed to our vines and to all the vineyard in different sides of the property. Where the challenge has been for us has been around integrating our sustainable tourism offer, but instead of taking it towards only recycling or things we can do inside the property, is how we educate and show our country and the world a different way of tourism around wine. And what we did was change our more traditional wine tour, which obviously was around our wine cellar and lasted around 45 to 1 hour with the tasting of 4 wines. And we completely shifted that and turned it into a 2.5 hour tour, where our purpose is to put and highlight the value of the land and the biodynamic philosophy. And in this tour, we visit 4 points, four specific points in the vineyard, starting at our wine shop, going to our Trail of the Senses, which is a 25-minute walk where people learn about the endemic plants and animals that live around this area. In the second stop, we stop at our Jardín Biodinámico, or our biodynamic garden, which we call the heart of our vineyard, and is basically a concentration in a garden where we have most of the plants that go into our biodynamic preparations, which later go into the soil and into the vines. And here we also see a big amount of birds that also are part of this live ecosystem. And our third stop would be at our wine cellar, where we have a 40-minute stop, 35-minute stop, where we walk around the wine cellar, go into the oak barrel cellars, and obviously understand a little bit more of the production of wine around the fermentation stage, bottling, and aging. One of our main factors is what we were talking in the first slide around our unique cool climate place. We are located between the coastal mountain range and the Pacific Ocean. This leaves us with our 4 vineyards very, very close to the Pacific Ocean, around 13 to 19 kilometers away from the Pacific Ocean. And obviously this has to do with the way we treat the natural cycle of wine growing, with the big influence also of not only the fact that the Pacific Ocean has a cooler temperature, but also the fact that we have a big influence of the Humboldt current, which is a cold temperature current that brings the temperature of the ocean even lower. And this gives us very nice cool breezes during the morning, and even with some fogs, and in the afternoons, cool breezes that help us have a healthier vineyard. Our 4 vineyards are obviously located around the same area, 2 of them belonging to the Casablanca Valley, which is Vallehermoso and Santo Tomás, 13 and 18 kilometers away from the Pacific Ocean, respectively, and La Casona and El Rosario, which are both in the San Antonio Valley, very close to the Casablanca Valley, and also 13 and 19 kilometers away from the Pacific Ocean. On the second picture number 2, you can see our hotel in the back, our La Casona vineyard, and with you can see some of the parts of the pool and the gardens of the property. Our modern wine cellar was also designed and constructed in 2004, looking for the most sustainable way we could do this, and obviously has a gravitational flow design, which means which allows us to have a very delicate handling of the grape at every stage, from the reception to the selection and to the fermentation and subsequent aging in barrels. This will allow us to interfere the least way possible and have our grapes and our wine production be as natural as possible. And last but not least, excuse me, our wines obviously are the result of this natural process and this extends chain of processes leading into 3 of our lines of wines, which are Corralillo wines, our premium line, EQ lines, or EQ line, which represents our premium or ultra premium, wine, and our signature wine, which is our Syrah Matetic, produced in a cool climate, all resulting in a legacy of organic and biodynamic excellence. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Carlos. I don't know about the people who are attending the webinar, but I think my bucket list items have just increased by 4 destinations. I would like now to ask anyone who has any questions to write them in the Q&A section at the bottom. We have one question here. So, okay, this is from George Alas. For the projects you represent, how important is organic storytelling in the digital transition to better convey all your sustainable efforts and practices? So this is for everybody or just for Carlos? Well, okay, so who would like to, open question?
Oh.
Okay, so who would like to answer that, or the idea of organic storytelling and the digital trend?
I can answer that question first, and I think it is very important, and it is also a big challenge because of the fact of being an organic, in our case, an organic and biodynamic vineyard. Obviously means a bigger effort, not only financially but also operationally, logistically. And I think one of the most important elements, as many of the other panelists were talking about, was around education. And I think communicating this is one of the biggest challenges because of that. So a big effort is already doing it, but I think it cannot be separated and communication of this cannot be left behind in order to not only educate, but also bring awareness to the world around the importance of sustainability and how not necessarily technologically transformation is a barrier maybe to natural processes or what we would think of, but also I think nowadays it's a necessity, and using technology in all its possible ways today to be more sustainable, I think is one of our biggest challenges today.
Okay, thank you. Well, while the rest of you are writing, can you hear me? Yes. While the rest of you are writing your questions, I've prepared a few just to keep things moving. My first question is for Victoria from Beronia. It seems like you have just about all of the bases covered with your sustainable initiatives. Can you briefly tell us if anything new is in your future plans? Have you more or less stopped your project, or what's coming up?
Well, Tom, for us, and I think in general, sustainability is a journey. So this is something that we need to keep going on, and that we need to continue. For us, well, we are committed to reducing our emissions. So we have committed to minus 55% in 2030 and to be net zero in 2050. So I mean, we are on our way, and we are doing many actions and reducing energy with installing green energies. We need to perhaps go further with batteries to try and store this energy, reduce emissions, move to more efficiency to whatever parts of the process we can. Although we are, when we designed the winery, we were already thinking about this, but we are still on our way. And of course, for all wine producers, scope 3, so all the emissions that happen once your bottle or once you've done your wine in terms of packaging, etc. Well, this is also something that we are working on, trying to reduce weights of our bottles. So different aspects, and it's a journey. So we are on the way.
Well, it certainly appears so. Thank you very much, Victoria. Moving on, a question for Mariana Castro. After looking at your website, and especially after seeing your presentation, I was totally amazed with the variety of your sustainable initiatives. Do you also have any projects that involve the local community?
Absolutely. The community is truly important for us. And since we refer here a lot, education for us, it's the key. for everyone to make their own part, because we all know that no one is coming to save our planet, where change has to start by us. And that's the message that we want to share through everyone, not only our colleagues, our guests, but also the community surrounding ourselves. But we do have a lot of projects with the community. The one that I'm that I'm so proud of is that 2 years ago, we're able to build a house for a family that live in dishuman conditions. So through volunteers and through a very kindness of our suppliers and the management, some of colleagues of ours, were able to build a house for this family. But regarding more biodiversity and education for the community, we have this year had a Bio Blitz, which is a full day of activities to get to know the biodiversity in our property and the nature. And it was open for the community. It was free of charge, so everyone was welcome to come. And it was lovely to see so many people joining. But the one that we have done more recently, we have organized a night walk. So we had guides. It was a beautiful walk, but no one had to pay to participate. The only thing that people had to bring was a basket of food with essentials, and that all that food was given to a charity that takes care of the elderly in the region. And it was wonderful to see that together we were able to accomplish 1,900 kilos of food for this charity, because every person would bring their own food, and the 6 census per person that participated would donate more 15 kilos of food. So 121 people have participated. So it was a project that we were very, very, very proud to organize.
Okay, Mariana, thank you very much. We have a question from the floor from Ellen Wallace, who's a wine and hiking writer from Switzerland. And I don't know if the panelists can see the comment and the question, so I will read it and then we can discuss it. Everyone talks about the importance of soil, but I would argue that few people, maybe some gardeners, really understand anything much about soil. Do any of you have specific classes or make special efforts to teach people something basic about the soil? If so, what do you do? Interesting question, getting down to grassroots, so to speak. So anybody offer any classes about the composition of soil?
Sorry. Tom, do you want me to answer that question?
Sure.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I agree with Helen and the importance of the soil. And we do have classes, and we teach our personnel, our collaborators about it, not only in planting and harvesting, but the use of the soil and how we recuperate it. So our agronomists teach them every month based on based on the season about planting, how do we take care of it, and how do we especially take care of the soil, that if we don't do that in the proper way, we won't get a good harvest, especially in the kitchen garden, if we don't do the right thing. So we also do that with the collaborators and with the people of the area that help us with the kitchen garden and with our vineyards. But I agree very much with Eileen on that subject.
Anybody else have any comment about Ellen Wallace's question? All right, well, I have a question for Carlos Ocampo. Recently, I visited a biodynamic producer here in Rioja. He told me that today, organic and biodynamic viticulture are the exception, only practiced by a few people. This particular producer told me that in the future, organic and biodynamic will be the rule. In other words, everybody will practice them. How do you feel about that? Is this a movement that's moving ahead quickly? How do you feel?
How do I feel? I feel very optimistic with your words, Tom. I hope that is what happens in the near future. I feel optimistic, and also I feel a bit curious to know how fast this process could go, how long it could take, because I definitely think it's something that is necessary. I also think there's a lot of labeling and big titles around the words organic and biodynamic. I think it's one way of looking at things, and obviously for us it's a priority. It's been with us since our beginnings, and we've seen other vineyards turn their practices into, and their vineyards into, organic or biodynamic vineyards. But I think the challenge here is mainly to understand that turning vineyards into an organic, or the industry into an organic or biodynamic producing industry is just the big title. I think this comes with a bigger range of change in practices, like the ones we were seeing from the other panelists. It's not only the fact that a vineyard can be organic and biodynamic, it's the fact that we can teach the people that visit us, that we can go beyond the fact of just teaching wine production, or for example, the question that we just had around soil, that personally we only do internally with our collaborators, but we definitely, it opens our mind to knowing that we have to do that for everybody, to our visitors, to local communities, to everybody. So I think going back to your question, I think it's definitely possible. I think it's definitely the route, and just like Victoria was saying, I think sustainability is a journey, and part of that journey might be organic, biodynamic, but in the end, beyond the title, I think it just has to be responsible, and that requires a commitment from everybody.
Thank you very much. Now, a question for Mariana Castro. How do you manage to be 100% plastic free and still guarantee to the public the hygienic requirements that are especially strong after the pandemic? What's your sterilization hygienic process?
So in 2018, if I'm not mistaken, I was still not working Six Senses, but it was done. We have studied everything that has plastic in every Six Senses, and we have realized that 80% comes from.
Okay, let's see. We're having some technical difficulties here. Mariana?
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So I was saying that in 2018, Six Senses has done a worldwide review on every plastic that's used in every property. So it was a full work of every computer that had plastic. So very detailed. And what was discovered was that 80% of the plastic in every property came from 18 specific items. Whether that's, of course, most of it coming from food, the plastic containers, and for example, amenities. So the goal for it is to eliminate single-use plastic in these 18 items. So regarding hygienizing, especially for COVID, what was done is that, for example, as I refer, the jars that were used, vacuum plastic bags in the kitchen for storage, for example, jam, it was replaced by jars, glass jars. So in that case, there was not such issues regarding hygienization. So if it was a specific question on a product, because otherwise I could stay here speaking for a long time, but if it was a specific item, I'll be more than happy to reply as much as I know of.
Okay, thank you. One question for Alejandra. We were recently in Mendoza. This year, the annual conference of the Great Wine Capitals took place in your region. And, you know, whenever we go to Mendoza, we're amazed that people say Mendoza is a managed desert or something to that effect. Looking at your website, all you can see is green. How do you manage the really grave problems with water shortages, especially in recent years, around your estate? It looks like an oasis. How do you do it?
It's really, we were very lucky to receive the Great Wine Capital this year. So we are very happy that you get to see how we manage that. and we live in the middle of the desert. We don't get rainfall. So for us, the water management is very important. So what we do is we drill wells that are in some regions, like where we are 200 meters down, and we get the water from this, we drill these wells, and we get together all the water in ponds. With that and drip irrigation and a lot of technology where we only consume and use a little bit of water for each plant, exactly what they need, we can, or we are able to do what we are doing now. So we don't depend on the rain, we just depend on this water management with, like in Rosell Boher, we have state-of-art water plant. So all the water that we consume at the hotel is treated, and we can use it for watering our olive trees or our vineyards too. And that happened almost in the whole area of Mendoza. We have different valleys where are like greener than other areas that are a lot of gray, if you were able to drive around Mendoza. And basically what we do is we control every single drop to our crops, and that gives us the opportunity to harvest whatever we need to harvest. So it's drilling wells, and it's a strong regulation from the government that allows us to drill wells. So it's not that every person in the world can just buy a property and drill a well. You need a special regulation that is very difficult to get. And that's the way that they guarantee that there is water for everything that it has been planted or is being planted. So everything is regulated, and water management is a big issue here. And I think we're doing well.
It appears so. This is related to another question, which I think will have to be the last question because of our time limitation. Also for you, Alejandra, I'm sorry, but water seems to be an important issue for our audience. The question is, in what way might climate change, in the large sense of the word, be affecting your project? Do you have a plan to contemplate what presumably is going to happen in the future?
Well, as we were talking, I guess that climate change will be affecting my project or any other of the projects. In a way, we can control the water that we use for our crops in a different way that other countries do. So since we don't depend on the rain, and we, as I said, we drill wells, we can control that. As far as frost or hail, I think we are in the same position as every other project. So far, the national regulation or the regulation for the wells is helping a lot, and I don't see climate changes affecting Mendoza in a different way that it will affect any other region.
Thank you very much. Well, I could stay here for another 3 hours, but that's probably not possible. I'd like to thank our panelists, first of all, for their excellent presentations. As I said before, my bucket list has increased by 4 destinations. I've really learned a lot about sustainable wine tourism initiatives, and I trust that all of you who are participating in the webinar have too. Next, I want to thank everyone, all of you who have joined us for being here. If you're interested in learning more about these wineries and their sustainable initiatives, you can check out their websites. And if you're interested in reading more about the sustainable wine tourism initiatives that the Great Wine Capitals is carrying out, we have 11 members, and we have 11 sustainable wine tourism awards. So you might be interested in looking at that. So our website is easy. It's www.greatwinecapitals.com. So as far as I'm concerned, thank you very much. And I wish all of you happy holidays and a happy 2023. So thank you again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
And I'd just like to say that there have been a lot of comments from the audience about how much they enjoyed your presentation. So I think you can be proud of that. Okay, so
Thank you, Tom.
thank you everybody for tuning in, panelists, members of the public. So with our next webinar, we hope you will join us. We have a lot to explain to you, and we hope you will be interested in what we have to say. So thank you very much. And as far as I'm concerned, the webinar is over. So bye-bye.